Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another fun episode of the Tim and Tim Show with Making Moves in Multifamily Live. Today, we're talking about unexpected disasters. Is that a fair thing to say? Disasters or nuances or sucker punches? I mean, all of the above.
Yeah, I was trying to be purposely redundant and say unexpected surprises because I knew somebody would be like, aren't surprises by definition unexpected?
But yeah, my English teacher would probably redline that or red ink it and say C minus confusing.
Yeah.
Or redundant, sorry.
Hey, funny story. I got an A on a paper one time for writing a paper completely wrong about a book we were supposed to have read.
Hey, folks, this is pre-Chat GPT and probably Spark Notes too, because I have gotten my way through some high school papers before on Spark Notes.
Hey, so Old Man in the Sea, that book. My sophomore year in high school, we were supposed to have read Old Man in the Sea, and we had a quiz in English class that was like, okay, write a paper about the book that you were supposed to have read. I didn't read it, so I turned around to the girl behind me. I was like, what happened in the book? And she was messing with me, and she goes, he falls in and the shark eats him. I'm like, okay, cool. So I wrote a paper based on that ending.
And you got an A on that?
Yeah, my English teacher comes back and she's like, this is an extremely well-written paper. A minus. Next time, read the book.
That's fantastic. I have to say, it brightens my day a little bit. It's like the 1970s edition of Sharknado.
So anyway, Crystal, if you are out there, thank you.
Oh gosh. Okay, so we want to talk about this because stuff happens all the time. I mean, you can never fully prepare yourself for what can and will happen and or go wrong in a real estate deal. Tim, why don't you talk about some of the experiences that we've had with some deals that just, we've had trees fall down, we've had tenants like fall through the roof. I mean, let's go through the gambit here of some things that really excite us when it comes to that.
Oh man, unexpected surprises, right? So I here's my favorite one. Guys, we're just going to give examples. So here's my favorite one. One day I get a call from a partner Tim and I have, and we have this mixed use property in South Carolina, and we get a call, and he's like, so we just had a tenant fall through the floor into the restaurant below.
Yeah, that was a first for me. I'm not going to lie.
And I'm like, wow, I've never had that call before. I mean, forget the restaurant part because that was the first mixed use I've ever owned. But yeah, I've never had a tenant fall through the floor. So the long story short, guys, we had a clogged toilet on this property that was in a property. It was in a unit that the tenant was not home for a few days. So when it clogged and overflowed, it just ran for days, and it ended up messing up. I don't know, like what, Tim, like 3 units in 3 of the
Something
8 units
like
on
that.
the second floor. Yeah. So it messed up like 2 other units besides the unit that it happened in, plus the hallway, that led to all the units. So we were doing significant construction, and the hallways had been completely stripped down to the rafters, to the flooring joists. Sorry, I'm losing my train of thought here. And we were having, when tenants would come home, they had to alert us so that the contractor could lay down plywood so they could walk to their units. And this particular tenant came in, needed to get something. Contractor laid down the plywood. They walked in their unit. She comes back out. She leaves. And then she comes back up, I guess, because she forgot something. I don't know. Basically just decides to just go to the unit without the plywood on the floor and didn't alert the contractor. And she ended up falling through the flooring into, through the ceiling to the restaurant below. And kind of the funny thing is the restaurant owner was like, I turned around and there's this girl standing in my kitchen. So I won't go into too many details of how that all ended up because so it ended up being a bit of a scam, by the way. But at the end of the day, yeah, that was one of those unexpected surprises that we got.
And I remember, man, what was it like? Man, has it been like 2 years ago now? Remember when we had that storm come through Columbia, South Carolina, and like you woke up and it was like everything bad happens in threes, and it woke up and there was like a tree on the house, and then something else had happened too. I can't remember.
Yeah. Oh, you're talking. Are you talking about that quad where the tree
Yeah,
ended up
yeah,
on the
that's
house?
right.
Yeah. So I didn't even own that one yet. Um,
Oh, that's right.
yeah, didn't even own that one yet, and I'm just driving by, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go check on this thing that I'm getting ready to close on, and I drive by. I'm like, that's interesting. There's a
Yeah,
tree on the house.
yeah.
um,
That's not
and
supposed to be there.
yeah, and then we get a call from the property manager for a property it did own, and they're like, "Hey, there's a tree on the house." I'm like, "I know, but I haven't closed on it, so you need to call the owner." And they're like, "No, no, 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 different property, one you own."
Oh,
Same
multiple
storm,
trees.
yeah,
Wonderful.
same storm, different tree.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, look, it's these are people talk about being conservative in your underwriting and having contingency budgets and setting aside money for the unexpected, and everyone thinks that they're not going to be vulnerable to the unexpected. It happens to everybody, and the scale of the scale or the severity of the damage or of the work that needs to be done, there's no telling. There's absolutely no telling in what could happen at any given moment, because there's just too many variables to consider. I mean, a lot of these deals that we buy, value add deals, they need work, and then that's ultimately why we buy them at a good price. We put in our rehab money, and then now we have an asset that's worth hopefully considerably more because we've done the work necessary to mitigate a lot of risk and mitigate a lot of potential faults that could happen at the property. Um, but so a lot of those things are, are physical, right? I guess that's a good way to say it. Physical damages that you can't expect. But the other side of it is the underwriting side of things. I mean, I know we've talked about this quite a lot over the last 12, 18 months or something. But
Yeah,
the unexpected changes in things like the utility bills going up and unexpected changes in insurance prices going up 300% on coastal exposures, and having your taxes be reassessed at a higher new millage rate, and then you trying to work with the city and to try to get the tax rate down, and it doesn't go anywhere, right? I mean, we've experienced the gambit of things that can't what could go wrong will go wrong,
yeah.
and you have to plan for it, and it's crazy to think that you're not going to have to need some set of reserve money on the side in order to make sure you can pay for these things.
Yeah, for sure. And one other place, like because what I always hear from people is, "Oh, but you got to plan for it. You got to plan for it. You got to plan for it." And I'm like, "Hey, man, even to use another word, like even the best laid plans, right?" Because a guy we know, and who I have a lot of respect for out of the Greenville area, Ars Sandella, had a really good post yesterday, I thought.
I didn't see it. Huh.
Yeah, so if you get a chance, go look it up. I thought he had a really good post. You'll appreciate it, especially from the underwriting and operations standpoint. But basically, what Arn was saying, and this isn't so much from the tenants falling through floors or trees falling on roofs or anything like that. What Arn was talking about was they have, I think it was a build to rent community. Arn, please forgive me if I'm butchering this. Um, um,
Hey,
uh,
Dennis, how'd you get in here?
I think I copied a link that I shouldn't have copied. What's up, Dennis?
Hey,
Hey,
Dennis.
Dennis, you want to be on?
Oh,
Uh-oh.
we're having a whole party here today.
Dude, I completely unexpected surprises. Here we go.
Whoa. Hey, we got Dennis and Marco now. We got the whole gang.
Hey, anybody want to be on?
Oh man.
um,
Too funny. I think you posted the link to join the show
I
instead of to
did. I
watch it.
did. We could just have a group chat.
Oh geez.
Raise your hand if you want to be on. Or you could just sit and listen. That's cool too. but good to see you, Dennis. So guys, what I was what I was saying is, what oh geez, I'm completely thrown
I'm
off there.
completely lost. What were we talking about now? The sky
this
is
this
purple.
this show's a mess.
Oh, I know.
So what
Delete,
were we?
redo.
Yeah, what? Oh, Arn. So
Oh,
Arn had,
his new build construction stuff. Yeah.
yeah. So Arn, forgive me if I'm not remembering the details. I did read the post though. So I think it was a new build construction that they did. If you guys don't know, Arn's doing a lot of like build to rent stuff, and he um he had this post about, hey guys, like we underwrote it, we were conservative in our underwriting, we expected interest rates to go up from where we were. I think they were at like 3.45% or something like that, and they actually planned for a refi at a higher interest rate. And knowing Arn, he probably at least followed the rule of thumb, right? Maybe even put a little extra cushion in there. So I have no doubt that his underwriting was very, very conservative, but he's like, man, here we are. We're 2 years in. We got this 3.45% interest rate that has now converted to principal and interest, and we wanted to be back into an interest-only product by now, but it doesn't make sense to refi, right?
No,
And
because your
and so
P&I payment's still less than what your interest-only payment would be
exactly, right?
on
Now,
a
in the
cash flow basis.
right, and the downside is he's not able to return investor capital, right?
Right.
Like they had predicted, to return. And I like the way he phrased this. Actually, we had said that it might be a possibility that we would return some investor capital in year two.
Mhm.
And I think that's what people miss sometimes is like possibility, right? They see it as an underwriting and they think it's guaranteed, right?
Or
So
definitive, yeah.
yeah. So, and basically what he was saying is, hey guys, like we were conservative, but we could have never predicted that the debt markets were going to accelerate like they did, that interest rates were going to take off like they did. And unfortunately, here we are. And it would just be a really bad move to trade in our 3.45% P&I payment, that we still have 3 more years
Mhm.
before the balloon kicks in for these 6.5% interest rates.
Yeah, yeah,
And
you might as well ride it out for at least another 2 years and before seeing what happens. Because who knows? I mean, now you're looking at a refi in year 5 and
yeah,
getting 100% of your money back, probably plus a little bit of equity and still owning a brand new asset that's gonna continue to cash flow for the long run.
yeah. I, I completely agree with you. And he had a really good point, which is like, hey, we're still
Mhm.
paying, out to investors, and the money's not lost. And this
Yep.
is what I thought was a really good thing is he's like, the money's not lost. Instead of returning investor equity right now, the tenants are just paying down your debt.
Yep.
So
Yeah, we have a better equity position in the deal itself, which obviously is it's pros and cons, right? I mean, because um, some people might not like those bigger equity positions, but the pro of that is better cash flow because you have less debt to pay down, right? I mean, it's the biggest point is the money's not lost. It's not like we're
right,
upside down in this project that we can't refi. It just doesn't make sense to do that. And I have to
right,
give ourselves kudos on quite a few deals when we were buying in 2020 and 2021. Um, in 2022 when the rates were so low, we were underwriting rates to, I think we just refinanced out of a bridge loan that we had at 5.75% interest, right? So we thought we were going to be able to refi into a stabilized product, but we didn't underwrite it at like 3% interest. We underwrote it at like
right.
5.5%. And now, granted, the rate was actually 7% instead of 5.5%, but we didn't underwrite it at 4, right?
Yeah,
Or 3.5 or something crazy like that, because we were like, this is not sustainable. Like the rates are going to go back to where they were historically. I mean, and you and I had a lot of conversations about this. Was historically rates were between 5 and 6% for what most of the time it's been between 5 and 6%.
yeah,
So we're a little higher than that with the Fed rate being 5.25 right now. So then you have your spread on top of that, which is putting us in that 7 to 8 range. So yeah, rates are a little higher than normal right now, but they could go back down, or maybe this will be the new normal. I mean, I really don't think rates today are that bad. I mean, they could get
no,
better, of course, but I really don't think they're that bad. I mean, some of the agency loans that we're getting on our LIHTC assets are what, 6.25% interest. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Would I like it to be 4.5%, 5%? Sure, absolutely would. Who wouldn't, right? But I'll keep taking those 6% rates all day.
Yeah. Yeah. So I completely agree. And, I think, I think it all comes down to kind of this, like, we have rules of thumb, keep adequate cash reserves, plan for the worst, all that good stuff. Rules of thumb with your underwriting, how many bips per year, expected on, how many percentage points per year on exit with cap rate, all of that good stuff. Right. But at the end
Yeah,
of the
and
day,
I think the biggest point there too is like, yeah, you could decompress the cap rate, but I still look at the price per unit on an exit just because I'm like,
sure.
do I really think this 1950s asset's going to trade for $350,000 a door in 5 years?
Right.
Doesn't
Right.
matter what my cash flow is. I mean, it does, but it doesn't, right? It's like, do I really think that it's going to be worth $350,000? And sometimes it's like, I don't think so.
Yeah. Yeah. And the whole point is, guys, like, that they're just rules of thumb. They're guiding principles.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you still got to be ready to pivot, adjust,
Problem solve.
figure,
You got to
problem
problem
solve.
solve, right?
Yeah.
Because what you know now is not going to be what your problems are in the future. So you're going to have to problem solve. I mean, we're going through plenty of problem solving right now with different lenders and insurance companies and
Yeah.
everything. I mean, there's so much stuff you have to be continually problem solving for. It's funny, I come downstairs after working and, my wife says, "What do you want for dinner?" And I said, "I don't like this game. I'm terrible at this game. I'm tired of making decisions," because we're constantly problem solving all day long.
Speaking of expecting the unexpected surprises, right? I never knew when I got married that what I wanted for dinner was going to be as big a source of stress in my marriage as it is.
I don't like this game. Pass.
My wife
That
and I
doesn't
will
work
look at each
over very
other.
well.
What do you want? I don't know. What do you want? Oh, great. Here we go.
Pasta it is.
Fitting for yourself.
Yeah, that's it. Peanut butter and
yeah.
jelly.
Yeah, exactly. But man, I think I think if there's a lesson to be learned here, it's like, guys, when you get into this, like, you can plan for all of it, but you got to be flexible.
What's
You
that
got
saying with the Mike Tyson thing? It's like everybody's got a plan until you get punched in the face.
Oh, I believe that's an old Vince Lombardi
Oh, Vince Lombardi.
quote.
I thought it
Yeah.
was a Mike Tyson thing.
Yeah, I think Mike may have said it a couple of times, but I think Vince was the one that kind of started it with, like, hey,
He coined
everybody,
it and Tyson made it famous.
yeah, everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth, right? Like,
Yeah, or in the mouth. Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah. But yeah, and I don't know about you. If I ever got in the ring with Tyson, my plan would just be like survive.
Armadillo.
Yeah, come out of here with both my ears and not get killed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's funny.
So, yeah.
What other unexpected things have come up? What about tenant stuff? Oh, last week I got some text messages from tenants. That was unexpected. It's that will raise some eyebrows. I get a text message at like 9:30 at night, and it's this tenant texting me about some things, and they won't say who it is. These tenants are getting smart. They used like a Google number or something, and they sent me a text message because we tried to call it, and it just went like, to a nothing busy line or whatever. And it was like, man, it's interesting to see that how easily people can find your information on the internet. But I wasn't expecting that at all. I mean, we didn't really do much with the information because we couldn't verify it, couldn't identify it. But yeah, I mean, that's just another thing that caught me out of left field was, wow, somebody's addressing me as Mr. Tim. I was like, wait, who are you?
Yeah, that's Mr. Tim. I'm like, most of my contractors call me that, but that's about it. So yeah, it's funny, Tim's talking about that text messages and related to that, we just had a random letter at our company mailbox, same thing. Exact same thing.
Did we? I don't remember that.
Yeah, it was on the exact same issue Tim's talking about. And of course it just said, sincerely, a tenant, something like that. It's like
annoyed tenant.
Yeah. It's
like, get in line. Everybody's annoyed.
um, yeah. What else? What's another favorite tenant issue? Right.
We talked about
Oh,
the tenant
geez.
falling through the floor. That was a good one. Text messages.
Yeah. The I,
Hmm.
I mean, they're all over the place. Tenant issues are crazy. Here's one of my favorite ones. So we have a property here in Charlotte that was having some water intrusion issues.
Oh, this is a good one.
The guy was turning us into the city. I mean, and keep in mind, the every single time that it would happen, we try a new fix, right? We gutters, roofing, changing the angle, landscaping, I don't know, regrading outside his door. You name it. We were trying all kinds of stuff. And unfortunately, it didn't happen when you just sprayed water on the door or you had a light rain. It had to be a pretty heavy rainfall. So as you can imagine, you'd do something that you think might fix it, and then a heavy rain would come, and you'd be like, "Oh, nope, that didn't fix it." So and don't get me wrong, guys. Like I felt really bad for the tenant. Like, I mean, this guy's like his stuff's getting wet in this apartment, and I'm like, but we're trying really hard to fix this thing. And but he kept turning us into the city, and he kept turning us into the city, and then the city's like coming out and giving us violations and stuff, and we keep showing him like we're trying to fix it. Here's the contractor quote, all of that stuff. So the city's working with us. So eventually we get to a point where like he's like, my couch is ruined. I'm so mad. And we're like, hey, we're sending a guy out. We're going to try something else. This is like the most extensive plan yet. Right. And then he wouldn't let the guy do the work.
Oh,
So the tenant, the contractor shows up. He's like, I'm here to fix the problem. Here's what I'm getting ready to do. I need to come inside your door and do a couple things. And the tenant's like, no, not letting you
that's
do
like
it.
reminds of one of our tenants in the deep south. I won't mention the property or their location, but we had an issue with the roofing from the prior owner. So we bought this property in it was the end of a month, and then 3 days later, she filed this claim against us, and obviously, and now we're in a lawsuit because of it because we own it, and we're like, wait a second, we just bought this 3 days ago. We didn't
Yeah.
even fix this. We didn't have anything to do with this roof. And she's like, well, I've been dealing with it for like 3 months now. I'm like, that's the previous owner problem. But she submitted the claim after we took over ownership, so now it's my lawsuit, not his.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god, you have to be kidding me. But there was the roofer didn't repair the roof correctly and left holes in the roof around like the things that come through the ceiling for like the vents and stuff like that. And the tenant has a photo looking up through the ceiling and you can see the sky. And apparently the old management company that was working it, they tried to send a contractor there and she wouldn't let him in to the building. And nobody believed us that she was being combative until very recently she went to her attorney's office to continue this negotiation of the settlement we're trying to do with her on the insurance side of things. And she gets into a fight with her attorney, and the attorney calls the police on her. And we're like, guys, how much more evidence do you need that what we're dealing with is somebody that is out to get us? And we inherited this problem, and we've done what we could. We even replaced the entire roof to fix it, and it's still our fault and our problem. So, yeah,
Yeah.
tenant
Yeah. And
problems are the best. Get into
yeah.
real estate; it's fun.
Yeah, you gotta love that one, right? And oh yeah, by the way, the guy who contacted the city on us, like, and then would let us in to do the work. Guess what happened next time it rained and his apartment flooded? He called the city. Um, we sent the guy out to do the work. He refused any kind of fix, and then when his apartment flooded again, he called the city. It's like, oh
I don't know. What do you do there, Tim? You just can't please everybody. That's for sure.
unfortunately, what we had to do on that one was got the city involved. They sent the sheriff with our contractor, and we knocked on the door and said, "We're here to fix your problem. And in case you have any questions, here's the sheriff."
Yeah, right.
um, and kind of sucks that you got to get the cops involved to help you fix somebody's issue
Yeah,
that they're complaining about.
yeah.
So anyway,
Fun
those
time.
are those are things I never would have expected. When I was getting into this whole thing, if you would have asked me if that was a scenario, I'd have been like, that makes no sense at all. Like, it's not, a reasonable person would not do that.
Yeah, that whole statement goes out the window. You can't apply reasonableness to every situation you come across. So be prepared for that.
Yeah, but you know what? We all have it, right?
You
I,
know, what's it? Everyone's quirks make people interesting and makes the world go round. Because if everyone was the same, it'd be pretty boring. We'd have nothing to
yeah.
talk about from today's show.
Hey, in full transparency, just a few weeks ago, I got worked up about something and was like, "I'm gonna go do this," and Vitali's like, "Dude, that doesn't even make sense."
I
Like,
know. Yeah, you were just on a rampage, and I was like, let me poke this button right here.
yeah, he's like, "You're really gonna do that? That doesn't even make sense." Like,
Ugh. I'm just right. I want to be right.
In this case, I was gonna pay a lot to just be right.
Yep.
um, so anyway, guys, Dennis, really good to see you. He's waving at us, folks.
Yep.
So sorry about the technical difficulties today. We had an unexpected surprise this morning, and we were a little late in scheduling things, so we didn't have a chance to fix the technical difficulties before the show today. So next time we'll try to be a little more on top of it. But
Yep.
Tim, any last minute?
Nope. That's it. That's all I got for today. So, all right.
All right, folks.
Appreciate it. Thanks for joining. See you next time.
See you next
Peace.
week.